Hey there, do not publish insert title here, Scientist Stefan here with the test results for Rise of the Tomb Raider and GISH as part of the ongoing scientific study to rank every video game ever. Rise of the Tomb Raider picks up sometime after 2013's Tomb Raider, a remake of a terrible game series that managed to be really good despite its forebears. Rise follows Lara Croft, a millionaire globetrotter, on a mission to find the Source, an artifact said to grant immortality. She must race around the world to various environments like snow-capped mountains and desert ruins in order to beat the Illuminati-esque Trinity to the punch of finding the Source. The story is presented in a very cinematic fashion, so if you've ever seen an Indiana Jones movie, not you'll be right at home following the story. In fact, the rebooted Tomb Raider games are basically ready-made to be converted into films, which makes 2018's horrible Tomb Raider movie all the worse, but that's neither here nor there.
You messed with the wrong family.
Rise of the Tomb Raider still looks pretty impressive today, with the environments in particular standing out. There's some really breathtaking vistas to behold in this game. Small details like Laura's hair flowing naturally or her clothes getting wet after she falls into water weren't new to games at the time, but they're still impressive and add a lot to the movie-like presentation. The gameplay itself is split between parkour puzzle solving and third-person cover shooting. Both work very well and make sure that you're never bored as the story moves along. The story itself is easy to follow even without prior knowledge of the series, something that Half-Life 2 Episode 1 could have benefited from. Minor issues like the occasional bad animation are pretty forgivable since they are often in service of prioritizing game feel over looking good. I'd also say that the tutorial text, while useful to new players, really distracts from the aesthetics of the game. None of that is really a reason to turn this game down though. It's a fun ride and you won't regret going on it. GISH is a puzzle platformer where you play as a ball of tar named GISH. GISH is on a mission.
Please clap.
To save a little girl who's been kidnapped into the sewers. GISH must use his abilities to stick to walls, slide down narrow passages, and make himself heavy to overcome labyrinthine sewer levels. Labyrinthine is in sneer quotes there in case you can't tell. Each level is incredibly straightforward, and every world is broken up into several stages, which are each about 1 to 2 minutes long, with the boss level thrown in the middle. I would be failing in my duties as a scientist if I didn't let you know that there's only one music track per world. It just starts over at the beginning of each stage.
Oh my god.
Though to be fair, the World 1 music slaps. The rest of the game is devoid of sound in a way that I honestly thought there was something wrong with my computer. GISH is textbook bad game design. The only challenge in the puzzles is wrestling with the terrible controls to get GISH to do what you want. This is the opposite of a tight, well-made indie game like Super Meat Boy or Lovers in a Dangerous Spacetime. Hell, this is worse than Sweet Lily Dreams. At least with Lily, it seemed like the person making it cared. The only redeeming quality is what I can only assume is the developer's voice that whispers, "Secret," anytime you find an optional room. Listen, this game came out in 2004, but the fact that somebody is out there charging $10 for a bad early 2000s Flash game is almost a crime. GISH isn't even good compared to a lot of those. Remember Interactive Buddy, where you had the little round guy who you beat up for money? I would rather pay $10 to play that than GISH. Hell, look at something like Alien Hominid. That was good enough for a bona fide PS2 release. This game is hollow and quite frankly damaging to all indie games.
How did I die? I don't even know how I died.
GISH is pure shovelware and is now the new worst game of all time. It looks bad, it sounds bad, and it plays bad. It is bad. Rise of the Tomb Raider is much harder to place though. A lot of back and forth was had to decide exactly how far up the list it goes. It's a tough call. After some consideration, it became a clear challenger for the #1 slot on the list. It's hard to rank against Dark Souls though. They're both the best of their respective series and very much different games. Rise of the Tomb Raider definitely has more polish, but Dark Souls 3 is a better pure game. This is the curse of ranking everything, I guess. Both are refinements of other games, but no one ever did a Souls game better than Dark Souls 3, whereas Uncharted 2 was at least as good as Rise of the Tomb Raider, and Uncharted 4 is even better. But I'm not sure that's a fair argument considering neither of those games have been tested. In the closest challenge of the throne yet, Rise of the Tomb Raider takes the number 2 spot. As good as Rise of the Tomb Raider is, it's still a largely linear experience. Dark Souls 3 was built to be replayed over and over again with different strategies. Even though it is also linear in its level design, the ways that you can interact with and challenge the world are wildly different depending on how you choose to approach it. For that reason, it stays on top. What a season, what a season. Hell of a top 3 here. Make sure to tune in next time as Octodad Dadliest Catch takes on Snapshot.
Time to save the universe again then, is it?
Absolutely.